They know the bait was suicide. Too deep when I ride. Ruby getting high for the pills that I supply. The screws are bound, flat tires in a 06 Chevy. Looking like I'm Bloody Mary, sipping codeine and berry. I'm down to doggo when I smoke up and I'm creeping like Frank. Within that chopper right at your face, and after that I go blank. Cause look at that.
Bitch, I'm feeling blessed. I'm feeling blessed. I'm feeling blessed. You can't kill my fucking vibe. Bitch, I'm feeling blessed. I'm feeling blessed. I'm feeling blessed. You can't
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
Get up, get up!
I have no idea why I'm doing this outside. It's so hot. First of all, what'd you guys think of that intro? It was sick, right? That last song was nasty. Yeah, I know. We're gonna talk about the parts list today for the bike. Everything that's on the bike that's been done aftermarket, or any kinds of mods that I've done, pretty much whatsoever on the bike. So I'm gonna tell you about how much these mods cost. I'll try to provide links if I can. I'll tell you about the install, whether it was easy or very difficult, and my experience with the actual mod itself. All right, so we're gonna do the top down, starting with the levers. Now the levers are actually stock, but I did change the color using spray paint. I did it in my basement over the course of maybe 2 days, maybe 3. So I removed the levers and used a whole bunch of different sandpapers on it, starting with like 60 grit all the way up to 600, and got it really nice and smooth. And then spray painted it black. I was hanging them from wires and they look great, super even. Going on was easy. They haven't gotten chalky or anything in the sun. Granted, they've only been on there for a little while. No issue. All right, so gloss black spray paint, and it really made a difference. They look awesome. Next is the grips. So the grips they're white grips, which are notorious for getting dirty. These grips are different. They're like, it's a harder rubber as opposed to the old stuff, which is more of a softer rubber. And that got like all kinds of road grime and like hand grime all over them. It was a nightmare to clean. But these are made by Biltwell. They're like 15 bucks. They're kind of a pain in the butt to put on because you just really gotta work it. You should be able to have the old ones off, usually with like a razor, and then put the new ones on, maybe using like soap and water, you know, just to like glide it onto the bar itself, or maybe some WD-40. That's what I actually used. That I can provide a link for. Those are easy to find. And I definitely do recommend those white ones over the other style Biltwell white ones. Next is the cables. Cables are by a company called Magnum. They're a little bit of a pain in the butt to install, but as long as you take your time and be methodical, you will get it. They're stainless steel braided with that casing that goes over it, which apparently is guaranteed for life, not to fade, or I think it's just a fade. Either way, they're of the highest quality. I cannot believe I spent that much money on cables, but they look great, especially compared to the stock black ones, which the blacks are fine, but when you put these next to it, it really makes a huge difference. So I definitely recommend the Magnum cables. They're diesel. So next is the handlebars themselves. Those are actually made by Carlini. They're the Gangsters. They're 16-inch. The Gangsters have that kind of like pushed forward look. It's got a little bit of a curve going forward. It's enough to make it look super awesome. The chrome is of the highest quality on the entire bike. It's just such high quality metal and finished work. They were a nightmare to install by yourself. If you have 2 people, it won't be so much of an issue. They're 1.25 inch thick. I was gonna go with 1.5, but 1.5 looks better on touring bikes, where 1.25 seems to look better on more cruising bikes like mine, and probably like yours. I've seen some pictures of 1.5s and they look a little out of place. So just keep that in mind if you're gonna do bars. Below that is the Carlini 2-inch piston risers. Those are also incredible. They're only 2 bolt on each side, which some people are constantly saying like, oh, well, if it's not 4 bolt, then it's junk. But I haven't had a single issue with any kind of slippage or anything like that. I didn't put anything in there to help with the grip. It's just doing its job. I figured nothing would do better than Carlini's own product holding its own product. What's below them is solid bushings, solid metal bushings. There's 3 tiers of bushings. You have your stock rubber bushings, which have a lot of flex. They do help the way they're designed, and that's to absorb vibration. But when you're dealing with tall bars, there's gonna be a lot of movement. So you really kind of don't want those. The next step up, which would be better for dynas, is the poly. That absorbs some vibration, but it's a little bit more robust. And then you have solid metal bushings, like what I went with, which is perfect for Softails because they have balanced motors mounted directly to the frame, and you don't have that vibration that you would get with a dyna. So you don't have to worry about the vibration going up through the bars. And they're super cheap, and they're really easy to install. Definitely recommend those. All right, keeping with our top down is, I'm just gonna do all the lights together. So the next is lights. The lights are all stock, okay? The only thing that I changed is the ring that goes around the lights. And this was, I saw some pictures of these deluxes that had visors on them. These thick visors. There's 2 types of visors. You have like the baseball hat visor, which is like a really thin, just like that. And then you have the more sought after, better looking visor, which is, it actually technically goes all the way around. It's longer on top, but it's thick all the way around. And that's what you should get if you really want to do Cholo and have it look good. What it does is it tends to extend the profile of the bike and make the whole bike look longer if you do, you know, your headlight, aux lights, and your turn signals. The turn signals, they're super easy. They just pop right off, put the new ones right back on. Dumb easy. The headlight and the auxiliary lights, they just take a couple minutes, but they're very easy to install. And I think you can get them for like 40 bucks on eBay. Turn signals are like 10 bucks, no issue. I would absolutely recommend them. Okay, so now the seat. The seat is made by Lepera. It's called the Bare Bones. Technically, it's a custom seat, but I just bought it based on a simple Google search. I found it just the way I wanted it, with the white diamond stitched seat and the white piping that goes around it. I think it really complements the looks of the bike, keeping with the black and white theme. It is hard. It's not nearly as comfortable as the stock seat, but yeah, that's what you're gonna get if you want the looks. You can get rider gel for I think like an extra 90 bucks, but that's your discretion. I'll drop a link for that. It's, you know, good luck if you can find that exact one already made. I think they're kind of built based on, you know, a custom order. So worst comes to worst, you just order it right through Lepera. I think that was like 280 bucks or something, 250. Wasn't bad, and it's really easy to install. All right, I did the front suspension, which is the progressive monotube. Those were like 250 bucks. I lowered it 2-inch and love it. I couldn't install it. I had my Indy install. I've never done forks before. I was thinking about doing it, but I was having some other work done that I really couldn't do. And so I just had that done as well, along with the fork uppers and lowers. The lowers are chrome. I believe I bought them from Harley, and they're kind of expensive. I think they were like 300 bucks. The fork uppers, which really aren't much, they call them beer cans, and those are like 60 bucks. Don't be fooled by the stock ones, which are stainless steel. All right, because when you mix stainless steel and chrome, it looks kind of funny. The rear suspension is also made by Progressive. It's a 422, and I love them. They're adjustable. You can adjust the dampening. You can also adjust the ride height, which I Also did, well, I change it up. I keep it between 1 inch to 2 inches lower than stock. They look great. They cost, I think they were like 400 bucks, but definitely worth it. I didn't install them either. I had my indie guy install them. But I do adjust them on my own. It's really simple. You just need a couple wrenches and it's done in 15 minutes. The wheels are made by DNA. They're the Mammoth 52 fat spoke. They have the diamond texture spokes. No issue with those. I love them. In fact, the bike is in the shop right now getting new DNAs, which I'll make another video on in a couple weeks. I'm going on vacation, so I'm taking a little time off. The wheels are, I mean, depending on what you get, if it's ABS bearings or whatnot, they can range right around 1,000 to like 1,500. It really depends what you get. If you get any kind of color, the price goes up. The ones I just ordered took like 2 months for them to make. There was a problem. We'll get into it on the next video. Either way, I definitely recommend the DNAs. I haven't had any problems with them, and I've seen some haters on there that apparently must have spent like 4 grand on some ride rights and they're just hating on DNA, but I haven't had a single problem with them, and I've ran probably about 9,000 miles, no, probably like 8,000 miles on them. I did the driver's seat bolts, which are, you know, they're bolts, they're like just a few bucks. They look great. They look much better than stock, which was that like brushed look, which is no. And then I did the rear pillion bolt, which I wanted to have some contrast, so I did it in black. That was only like a couple bucks. Obviously very easy to install, and I can drop links for those. So I also did axle covers and swing arm covers. I can drop links for those. The swing arm covers are tough to find in the style that I went with, which is the Harley-Davidson Motor Co. style. Basically, you want to pick and choose a style and like stick with it. You don't want to mix match different styles like the One or the Willie G Skull, you know, and have like one of each. It just doesn't, there's something about it just doesn't look right. Like, pick a theme and go with it. So, and no issues with the covers whatsoever. They were the swing arm covers were a couple bucks, but the axle covers were like super cheap. And I actually painted them black too. So the derby cover and the timing cover I did, derby was like 50 bucks, timing was like 35 bucks. They were really easy to install. You should have no problem. So I went with the theme of the Harley-Davidson Motor Co. There's 4 things I don't like to put on my bike: flames, skulls, bullets, and crosses. I mean, if you like it, that's your thing. I'm just not into it. So speaking of themes, I also did the driver highway pegs and the passenger foot pegs, along with, in the same theme as the brake pedal cover. It's that triple line. I thought it looked classy, would never go out of style. It's not like in your face, but it still looks clean and nice. They weren't that expensive. They were really easy to install. If you have foot pegs that are mix matched, especially if you have highway pegs, now you have all these pegs sticking off your bike that are all different styles. Like, it's not gonna look right. And you know, I'm not a huge like style person when it comes to clothing, but with the bike, you know, you have so much time to like look and think and like, why something looks off here. And if you uniform your pegs, it really does add a dimension of cleanliness to the bike. Also, I did driver floorboards, which were, I got them on eBay. They were like 110 bucks, and I had never seen these before. They were a cool shape. You know, I wanted something different, but not, you know, too radical. These were different. They weren't radical. They looked awesome. They're black with a little bit of chrome, and then they had this like white circle in the middle, which when I got them in the mail, it turned out to be this like, this medallion that was a skull. And so I'm like, what the fuck? So I grinded the skull off and I painted the medallion white, and it looks awesome. Anyway, I'll post a link to those. I know I can find a link to those. Those were pretty easy to install. They didn't fit right away, but you kind of got to like put them in, wiggle them, like put them in, don't tighten them, wiggle them a little bit, maybe like step on it a couple times with your foot, and then it'll sink down into place. And you'll be like, oh, okay, there we go, now it fits. So they've been working great. They look awesome. I recommend them. I also did the CRASHBAR, got it for like $100 on eBay. It's been great. You know, it's CRASHBAR. I don't know what else to say. I might do one in the rear coming up in the near future. We'll see. That was really easy to install. I believe it's 3 bolts, 2 on the bottom, 1 on top. Bam, done. You can hook anything you want up to it. It widens the bike up, is what I like. Because if you actually look down the profile of the bike, look down like the line of the bike, it's a skinny bike. What this does, it widens it up, and it really does look good. I added a shifter spline cover, which was just a few bucks. That was such a great little mod. I'm gonna see if I can find the link. It was nothing to install it. It just has a set screw and you're done. But it just cleans up what was once this ugly end of the spline for your shifter. It was just awful, and this just covers it and it just makes it look clean. Done. I also changed out my oil dipstick to the one with the thermometer on it. Comes in handy. It's awesome. Don't get the cheap one. The cheap one doesn't fit. The more expensive one fits. I'll put the link in. I know I can find that. I also did the rear fender rail. Don't get it. It was a mistake. I should not have gotten it. You either have to drill into your fender or you have to use double-sided sticky tape, which is ghetto. I didn't want to drill, so I used double-sided sticky tape, and it doesn't work right. I have to add tape to it like every couple weeks. It's the stupidest thing ever. I shouldn't have gotten it. It was like 85 bucks on eBay. Whatever, I'm replacing the fender this winter anyway. Don't tell anybody. I got a Mustang Mini fender bib. Totally awesome, I love it. It was like 20 bucks, nothing to install. It goes underneath the back of your seat where it bolts on, and it just covers like a couple inches of your fender. Just enough to let you know it's there, but it doesn't cover the whole top of the fender. It is so cool. I recommend it if you don't want to do a fender bib, but you want to protect your fender from your seat bolts, and you just want a little bit of a look. Definitely recommend it. It's tough to find though. I don't know if I can find the link. Obviously the exhaust pipes, I just did the video on that. You guys probably remember. Those are the Samson Cholo 36-inch. They were a pain in the butt to install. They were like 650 bucks on Cycle Direct parts, I think. We're gonna switch to me fixing them from the iron butt ride right now. Go. And nobody is paying me to say this or even asking me. I just wanted to say it. That way you know what kind of company you're dealing with when you have a Samson product. Is that when I sent the email to kind of complain about the exhaust, I had the new part at my door within 5 days. And I think that's really awesome. There was no questions. There was no send me a picture. Let me see the install. It was just send the guy the new product. All right, and that's it. It's installed. So obviously everything worked out with the exhaust. I've been riding it for maybe 100 miles since I fixed it at least, and it's been great. No problem whatsoever. It must have just been a one-off. The intake is by Arlen Ness. It's called the Big Sucker. It was cheaper than a lot of the other options, and frankly, for that bike, it looks good because it's simple. It's not like in your face. It's just a simple design. I went with the gray instead of the red K&N filter, and because I didn't want the red to introduce a new color into the bike, because the bike doesn't have any red. That's it. It's got a bunch of options if you want to change out the cover of it. You can do black, you can do chrome, and you can find all kinds of custom covers for them because it's such a widely used intake. As for the tune, I went with the FP3. FP3 is awesome because you can do live data monitoring, which for me is really cool. You can see what's going on with your engine. You can clear codes. You can retune if you want, like right now. It's cool because it Bluetooths to your phone. It's very easy to install to your bike. There's like a 6-pin thing and it's underneath your seat. You just clip it in and set up the Bluetooth and get going. They make it like stupid easy. It's got great reviews. I think it's about 400 bucks. I can post the link. It makes going to a dyno kind of unnecessary. Although a dyno tune would be a little bit better than this. This is pretty damn good, especially when you can do auto tune and it'll make small adjustments based on your exact engine. So guys, that wraps it up. Those are the mods as of right now. I'm still doing more. It's a work in progress. I will update. We'll see you soon.